Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one man review. Today I'll be taking a look at Cram Comics number 2, Casual Conversations for Brain Fog Drunks. I was really excited to get this. I don't know when Cram Comics number 1 came out. I just got it recently, so I was probably late to the ball on that one. But I got Cram Comics number 1 right at the same time that I got a bunch of stuff from Reptile House and a bunch of stuff from Dead Crow and also the stuff that Buzza Wuzza sent me. I'm blanking on his little company name, but the monster stuff and those people in Arizona. So I got stuff from like kind of indie underground groups, like underground groups trying to create movements again, all at the same time. And in the first Cram Comics, I was noting that it felt very New York, and the Reptile House people felt very Philadelphia, and the Dead Crow people are very Bay Area, and then Buzza Wuzza and his group are down in Arizona doing these monster comics. So they felt like there was distinct voices to each city, and I was kind of jokingly, I don't even think I posted that video as the time of me recording this yet, but I was joking like, man, like if you guys are all watching these, because I know some of the people that make these watched our videos, especially the Dead Crow people. I was like, y'all need to collaborate. There's like this underground movement bubbling up, and I'm seeing it in all these different cities. You have Austin English, what he's doing with Domino Comics and the Jaywalk Comics. There's also already a collaboration between Domino and Dead Crow. So it's like, I know, make a national underground movement and put it together. And so it was really, really cool to see in this one. You've got Floyd Tangeman from the Dead Crow crew. You've got Nick Bunch, who's part of the Reptile House crew, and then people who are part of this seemingly more New York crew. That was awesome. It's like, okay, good. These people are all linking up, and this is going to be a national movement. What I really like about these Cram Comics publications is they are risographs, and they advertise as such. They're the handmade comics. You know, they make a big deal about that, and I think that's cool. It's really really nice. And it's not, I was expecting it to be kind of the same group. So I don't know who's organizing this, but it's a different group of artists, and I really appreciate that. I know it seems like there's a Rhizo lab somewhere that they're working out of. And I don't know if they're bringing artists in to work on it, if they're doing workshops or whatever, but it seems like a good center for this kind of wave of underground coming up, people that are just doing it themselves. So another good collection of artists, really good production throughout. I'll just go through and give you a little bit of each one. So this first one is Herpes Outbreak by Ali Erico. That's just her talking about her having sex for the first time when she was 14, which to me is like, oh my God, that's so young. But uh, saying that the first guy that she had sex with gave her herpes, and kind of being ostracized for that, and then eventually finding acceptance through talking about it. There's a weird moment later on where she talks about giving someone else herpes, and was like pretty casual about it in a way that was problematic for me. Like, yeah, whatever. Like most people have it. It's not a big deal. I don't think you can really, like, people should still have some kind of awareness of that. That should still be their choice. But that was a repetition of how she was treated as well. So I think that was a nuanced part of the story. She also talks about driving into New Jersey, or growing up in New Jersey, and so she didn't know how to pump her own gas. And the first time she went somewhere, then she had to pump her own gas. She didn't know what to do because in New Jersey, it's illegal to pump your own gas, as far as I know. The few times that I've driven through there, I went to the Kubert School for like half of a year, but I was riding my bike everywhere. And then I drove back through when I was going to grad school. I took a big cross country trip and drove back through Jersey, and was really frustrated when I got out and started to fill my car with gas that some guy came over and was like, no, 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 sir, you can't do that. I've got to do that for you. And then you're like expected to give him a tip and stuff. And I was like, what the hell, man? Like, I can fill my own gas. So it was surprising. I don't know if that's still there, but when this artist was a kid, that was obviously still a thing. She grew up with that. So very, very strange, but really well done comic. Really, really well told story. Good stuff overall. This piece here I thought was really interesting. Just bit of conversation. The Pleistocene Dreams by Cedar Van Tassel. This is, I'm assuming, an autobiographical summation of a conversation that Cedar and a friend had, but maybe it's entirely fictional. I'm not sure. But they're doing a drive across country, and talking about life in Minnesota. So here we get someone, I don't know where they grew up, but they're living in Minnesota now. It's not also New York as the first one. And they're talking about how there got to be so many lakes in Minnesota and going through the history of that. And then they kind of have a weird little conversation about Jordan Peterson, and it's just an interesting, like, really good casual conversation that flows from topic to topic but also stays focused. And I just thought it was really good writing. The art's okay for me, but I thought the writing was really good. Then you have Caroline Cash doing Hourly Comics 2023. So this is just basically how much can I get done in a day and tracking a day. I think it's just part of the hourly comic, like once a year thing. I think that's a big celebration once a year that people do. And then this artist is talking about being from Chicago. So again, like a bigger spread of artists here. Then you get A.T. Pratt. This was a very strange comic that I'm very curious about. I don't know A.T. Pratt, and so I don't know. Obviously, this isn't a true comic, but there's a claim in here that A.T. Pratt is friends with the famous friend cartoonist group of Seth, Joe, Matt, and Chester Brown. That this is like the lost fourth friend. I don't know if that claim's true or if that's also entirely fictional, because it's presented as like one of their autobio stories of all these characters coming over, but then they're all getting brutally murdered and there's all this crazy stuff going on. So you get like Seth comes up and they're talking, and then Joe Matt comes in and gets murdered, and Chester Brown shows up. And the entire time it's like, oh, my friend, oh, I'm we're the four friends, the FF, and it's very strange. So I'm very curious about what A.T. Pratt's actual relationship to those three are. The only one of those three that I really, really like consistently is Seth, but all three of them do autobio comics. I actually really like Chester Brown's Paying for It. I think that's a really good book. But this kind of leans into the same disgustingness that especially Joe Matt and Chester Brown can get in their comics. Seth is obviously the more restrained of them, but this, I mean, you can see just the kind of grotesque guts imagery throughout. It's very dense, pretty hard to look at art. I think it's hard to interpret, but a really kind of compelling little story there that I was confused about. Then intrigued about, I should say. Then you get Nick Bunch. This is someone, like I said, I know this is my favorite artist from the Reptile House group. Doing a kind of different style here, a looser style with the watercolor coloring over top, not quite as controlled as what I was used to in the Reptile House stuff, but still kind of the same dirty, like teenage dirtbag punk aesthetic to everything. This one's like a smaller piece. What I liked about Nick's stuff in the Reptile House was that it was the most coherent ongoing story. So this was like obviously a one-off. And then here's Floyd Tangeman stuff. Floyd's kind of the leader of the group as far as I can tell for the Dead Crow group. So it's really cool to see Floyd in here. And this is definitely, for as wild as it is, one of the most restrained pieces I've seen by Floyd. It's even got panels. It's got like a flow between them, and it still has his kind of Bay Area beat poet cut up kind of thing that he'll do, where he's cutting out just different pieces here. It's I forget what it is. It's a famous quote. Oh, it's yea, though I walk through the valley of death, I think. The shadow of death I shall. Yeah, it's a little hard to read, but I really, really like the art in this and the strangeness of the transformations. And I like seeing Floyd's stuff colored like this. I just think this is my favorite representation of his work so far. It's because of the risograph. I think it loses some of the fidelity on the hatching, but it leads to this interesting look for his work. So really excited to see that. And then this is Peter Fake here. Fake? I don't know how to pronounce that. But this reminds me a bit more of like Ian Cobb's stuff that I've seen, the Mr. Michelin stuff. And this one's more, it seems like it's from something larger, from the pages of Boy Howdy, talking about a rancher. So really like the art in this one, but the story, I feel like I just didn't have much context for it. And then you've got this, I forget this artist's name, but this was an artist who, let's see their name on the inside here, Andrew Alexander. This was one of the artists that was part of the first first batch. So maybe Andrew's the one organizing the whole thing. I'm not sure. But really enjoy Cram Comics. I hope they keep doing it. I really like that it's basically an entirely different group of artists. I hope they keep doing that as well. And it like I said, this video will probably come out before the video that I recorded because this is new. This will probably come out before the one where I'm talking about, man, I wish all these people would collaborate. So it's really, really exciting to see that span of underground artists like coming together. And I hope Cram keeps going, and I hope people go out and get a copy of this. I'll make sure you get a link to Cram Books so you can get this from them, because I think this is like what we need right now. We need these young underground people doing what they want to do and supporting that, you know, and keeping that going is the way we push the medium forward. So really big fan of that. If you enjoy what we're doing here on the channel and you want to support us, the best thing to do is to go to our Patreon. We have 2 different tiers of engagement there, and you can get exclusive access to some comics that Sean and I are making, some webcomic experiments, and at a lower tier you can just get early access to our videos. And if you want to support Living the Line itself, the best thing to do is to support what Sean's doing with Living the Line Publishing. So go ahead and take a look at one of his projects now. Whole new world. 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 For you and Thanks for following along. Take it away, Jack.
You want to see all these books? Smash that subscribe button and the like button and the bell, and then you get them.